Hi, I'd like to talk to you for just a few minutes about why I created the Secret of Letting Go program. Having now done more than 40,000 individual counseling and mentoring sessions with people over more than 40 years, I've always sought to find the most effective means of helping people shift out of the states where they experience painful struggling and disappointments and feeling like they hit an invisible wall. Everybody I've ever met is searching for something. They may not know what it is, but they sense there's something missing, something more than what they have in their life now. And for some, that even goes into the spiritual realms. So that would be like a search for enlightenment or ascension. But for most people, it seems to be elusive. Even if they've been dedicated to meditation or a spiritual program or self-help program for many years. So what I found is it's not mysterious, it's not difficult, and it's not out of reach. If a person just has the right pieces of information and tools to affect the way to do it. Now, one of the big problems is that there is a lot of contradictory and even confusing information that's out there today. And I find there's a lot of people teaching techniques that might be very helpful in specific areas, but they don't take the person to the levels that they want to attain. The process is then further complicated by people posting things on the internet and making it sound like it's so easy for them to automatically go through the shifts in consciousness they experience or to attain the abilities that they have. And that can cause a person hearing about it to think there's something wrong with them because it hasn't happened to them. I was in that category for quite some time myself. You see, I've made it my lifelong quest to strip away the non-essential clutter that's attached to practically every aspect of how to attain the heights of awakening and accomplishment. So many people are actively seeking that. I've been able to do that because I've had a lot of profound epiphanies myself. And it's shifted my entire internal reference system of how we create our reality. And I've broken it all down into bite-sized pieces so that anyone could replicate that process. For me, it did not come easily. It's been unfolding over decades, and I found a lot of secrets to help accelerate that process for you. So I've been teaching that in my classes, my retreats, my private sessions, and here's what happened to you, and me, and everyone else. You experience life through a projection of all the filters of your past, and those filters are a storehouse of pain and struggle and lack and loss and suffering and disappointments. And maybe you either personally experienced those or you observed other people going through it. And here's the thing about the past. It no longer exists, right? Now what that means is it's not real in this moment other than the collection of all the memories and the conclusions you have about what happened and what you observed. The problem with this is that all those conclusions and beliefs about the past are really just opinions, the points of view. They're not necessarily objective reality. Everything that you think, everything you believe is an interpretation. Now what that means is there are distortions of the underlying truths. Even though a person totally believes a story to be true, and maybe even bases one's life on it, you could refer to these things as illusions or mythologies that are attached to the stories that comprise a person's life. Most people go through their entire life following these scripts that are laid out by their interpretations and their opinions. That's also true of everybody you talk to every day. Here's an example of the way this plays out. Imagine how many times that you've been disappointed or angry or resentful in your entire life. It's a large number, I assure you. And each of those points in your history creates a marker in your consciousness that's used as a point of reference when you assess your current situation or you think about the future. If you're like most people, you've been upset probably hundreds, if not thousands of times, especially if you've lived more than a couple decades. Each of those upsets leaves an imprint, and that causes you to react a certain way in the future. That's also what attracts certain kinds of people to you. That's what creates situations in your life. And it seems to all go on mysteriously without you having any conscious understanding of how that happens. That's because it operates below the level of your conscious awareness. So in other words, you don't consciously make a decision to worry about something or feel anxiety or feel futile or discouraged or get depressed, or for that matter to feel blocked or stuck, right? It seems to happen automatically. Somebody says something to you or you think about a situation. Maybe somebody does something to trigger you. You don't know why you feel limited in certain ways. You may not have the appearances you'd like, the health you'd like, the talent you'd like, the skills you'd like, the love in your life that you'd like. And what I found is that people are not aware of 90% of what's causing their life to be the way it is. Now, when you realize this and you start to wake up to the fact that everything you have, everything you experience is a result of what you set in motion in the past, and what continues to stain it is your belief in it, that doesn't mean you like it or you want it. It doesn't even mean you understand it or you know where it came from or why it persists. In fact, everything you think about a situation that you find yourself in may be the complete opposite of what you want, but that all the more attests to the power that these patterns have, these unconscious patterns have. Remarkably, what you subconsciously believe may be the total opposite of what you want consciously. Now, all the while your life force is creating energy, feeding energy into the drama and the stories. There's a whole other aspect of who you are that rides below those experiences. When I work with people in my retreats and private sessions, I find there is an amazing, beautiful, loving, inspiring essence that lives inside all of us all the time. And I refer to that as your true self or your soul. This is where it gets really interesting. Your soul has always been there, but it's been buried under many stories and fiction that you've created, you've accepted, you've believed to be true. And so as a result, most people have a very limited experience of all their soul offers. Now, what I found is it's very difficult, if not next to impossible, for a person working alone to find and clear all those layers. The layers are shaping everything in their life. Everybody needs help with this, especially if you want to accelerate yourself in your evolution. That requires that you are like a detective in pursuit of every component that makes up these patterns. Now, one important aspect of the secret of letting go is to help you to do that. It assists you in identifying the causes, and it gives you and leads you and guides you through the methods of clearing it and replacing it. And that is a really big deal, because it is what can lead you to a much greater understanding of your whole life, and it clears away the obstacles that limit that life. And furthermore, it also opens you to the higher aspects of consciousness, what you might call your highest spiritual state. And once the limitations are cleared away, you can stay at a higher spiritual state all the time. And that's a very important consideration, because many people have beautiful experiences, but they're not able to sustain them day after day and month after month. And the reason is because they've not cleared themselves of the limiting patterns and the causes, most of which they had at an unconscious level. So the Secret of Letting Go program was designed specifically to do that. And there are two important keys to the process. One is clearing away through surrender. There, of course, are other techniques applied, but surrender is the big key to what your evolutionary progress will come down to. All the major religions talk about surrender as being fundamentally important. But what they don't emphasize, or they don't teach, is precisely how do you do that? You see, surrender in this context, and even by definition, means the complete total release and letting go of all forms of resistance. That includes strong emotions, such as fear of letting go, fear of the future, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of rejection, and all the self-limiting beliefs like there's something wrong with me, I'm guilty, I'm not worthy, if I get it, I'll just lose it, it's too good to be true, and hundreds more of beliefs and things like that. The Secret of Letting Go program will help you discover the patterns and programs of what's causing things in your life, and you'll know what to do about it. And through the process, you'll also discover deeper inner truths about your core issue. And that's what brings a greater level of fulfillment and happiness and peace and creativity, inspiration, and of course, love. The Secret of Letting Go program is experiential. That means it engages you through meditative processes to create shifts in your consciousness well beyond what just hearing about the subjects or reading about somebody else's experiences or listening to people explain their theories about enlightenment could ever possibly do. The Secret of Letting Go program can be your ticket to the next quantum leap in your evolution. That includes freedom from the charges of the past and a deepening into unconditional love and the inner joy that comes from soul discoveries. The bottom line is it brings you a sense of true freedom to help you achieve your dreams, rather than holding on to the drama of the past. And you can read all about all the details right below. I look forward to seeing you in the program.